Hello and welcome back to the House of the Stag podcast. We are here to discuss episode 5, Relight the Way. And we're once again joined by our buddy Josh from Constantine Films. I'd say I liked the episode overall, but I do have my problems, and I made that very clear in my review, obviously. So, yeah, initial thoughts. What do you have?
I think this episode was really good up until like the last 2 minutes. Kristen going batshit crazy isn't as ridiculous as I thought it was on my first watch through. Because you could easily put it down to the fact that Kristen just doesn't care anymore, and let's say he was planning to kill himself. He didn't care, but at the same time, why would he kill him if he was planning to die anyway? Because the reason he killed him was so that, the secret wouldn't come out. So there's
Yeah.
definitely some problems there.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Let's focus on the good stuff first, because we did it the other way around last week. What I really liked about the episode was House Velaryon. I really enjoyed going to the Driftmark to see the high tide. I think they've done a beautiful job when it comes to visualizing Corlys's wealth and how much of a ambitious and proud man he really is, and really liked the scenes of Rhaenys and him. I think if I have any problems with House of the Dragon so far, and I love it, I think it's just that we didn't get too much House Velaryon. But I think they'll make up for it if they continue doing stuff like this. So what did you guys think about Laenor and Laena in this episode?
I think Lenor was fine. His dynamic with Rhaenyra seems okay. Although I feel like the actor's acting overall is good, but sometimes I feel like it's a little stiff.
Yeah, I thought so too, to be honest. I really like Lena for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You know,
Lena's cool.
I can't wait to see a next episode, honestly. I think that's gonna be pretty cool. But I really like the characterization so far, especially later in the episode, you could see Lena sort of not scared to speak her mind, which is very much like her character or how she's described.
Obviously, they had to do something with Lena and Damon because the next week, as we can see in the promo thing, they're
New
already
Lena.
together. Yeah, new Lena also. There's also obviously the last episode we have with Millie Alcock, with Emily Carey. And I think they really went out with a big bang, especially Emily Carey. I think this was her best performance on House of the Dragon. I really loved the scene she had with her father, Otto Hightower. This was very important because so far House of the Dragon focused a lot on showing how manipulative this relationship is. So it was important to address that nonetheless, she is very much identifying as a Hightower, which of
Yeah.
course comes in later. So it's a weird spot for her. She's alone in King's Landing for the time being. I thought it was a really powerful scene, and obviously Reese Evans is such a great actor. Like how he delivered that line, "Prepare Aegon to rule." He's just made for this medieval speech.
Yeah. I also I really like that scene between Alicent and Laris. It was it didn't do anything special necessarily, but the acting is just so good, Like you can tell Laris is such a snaky man. The way he delivers his lines is so spot on because you can tell he knows she knows that he's telling it on purpose, but he just doesn't want it to sound like that.
I love the scene, but I gotta be honest, I couldn't really concentrate because wait a minute, there's a lemon tree
Lemon
behind
tree.
it. Yeah. Turns out Ryan Condal is a Preston Jacobs fan.
Yeah, apparently first they're talking about what, like a fruit that only grows in Bravos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Co-
then they have lemon in the background.
Season 2 is gonna open up with Chad Summerchild narrating the plot instead of Emma Darcy's Rhaenyra.
What if they change Kermit Tully's name to Chad Tully?
Yeah. Oh my god. But Josh, you're right. It is a great scene. I like how they are setting him up. It's obviously one of the more in the shadows. He's working more in the shadows type of guy. I would love for them to create a Varys versus Littlefinger kind of thing with him and Mysaria.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, which could further expand Missaria's role and just give her more characterization, which creates like a parallel between Mysaria and Rhaenyra later in the story, and Alicent and Larys now.
Yeah, it's there's so many rivalries. Like everyone is just beefing like they're on Twitter. I mean, we have Alicent versus Rhaenyra. We have Daemon versus Otto. Maybe Larys versus Mysaria. Then the Strong Boys versus Aemond. Daemon versus Aemond. And just like relax.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone is against Aegon the Second. I mean, not even the Greens really like him, so
Oh, I think they're gonna make him into an absolute abomination on House of the Dragon.
I'm getting that feeling as well.
Yeah, I think he's gonna treat Helena extremely badly. I think he's gonna be a drunkard, an absolute asshole.
All of Bobby B's worst qualities with none of the plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they try to make Aegon the Second more villainous, they'll have to make Aemond more sympathetic, because otherwise it'll just be too much.
Yeah.
Like in Fire and Blood, neither of them are in any way sympathetic, really. They're both just like doing things because they want to, without any personal regard or anything like that. But I think you have to create a balance between, because you can create the characters as grey as you want, but at the end of the day, Aegon the Second and Aemon do really, really bad things. And if you don't even try to make one of them slightly more, not necessarily good, but just not batshit crazy, I think
Yeah,
you
just
can.
like understandable.
Yeah, at least.
I feel like they did a good job making Allison like more relatable.
Yeah.
Totally. They've done such an amazing job when it comes to young Alicent and young Rhaenyra. I kind of changed my mind about it. I think the reason why they decided to show young Rhaenyra and young Alicent wasn't about showing how they turned into enemies. It was about giving the characters more depth and showing how they were brought up and what made them individually.
Yeah.
That's actually Elena Erasure.
But I am fine with it because Alicent is gonna stick around, and as much as I love Lena, I love both Velaryon kids. Alicent is still gonna be here, so it just brings so many layers. I really like the decision. I always liked it, but I like it for different reasons now. So then, big thing. Alicent enters the throne room, and for me,
wearing green.
Yeah, in that moment, the entire dynamic of the show changed. The way the music came in, the way she walked past. Oh my god! I keep listening to it. It's such a phenomenal tune. Such a phenomenal score. I feel like we always say like Ramin Djawadi is amazing, but that was a masterpiece. And
yeah,
man, everything changed. Close the chapter, done.
I think this was really like her episode. I think it was that comment by Larys might have been too on the nose a little bit, but I think that's just her showing everyone that she's not going to be taking, this family that she was forced into. She's not going to take their side in every situation. She is wholly and truly a Hightower, and she has to support her family by any means.
Yeah, that's how I took it as well.
Yeah.
Her embracing her family, the Hightowers. These characters act for their families. Sometimes, sure, there's individual stuff that is going on that has them make bad decisions and do bad shit, but they also do it for the family. Again.
1/4 mile at a time.
Yeah.
I think a good example of what you're saying now could be said for Otto, because on one hand, yes, he did pimp out his daughter, and yes, he doesn't really know any boundaries, but at the same time, he secured the best possible position for his daughter. No woman in the entire kingdom could have hoped for a better position than marrying the king. As fucked up as that is, that's just the truth for Westeros. And obviously, she's a child; she doesn't want that. But for Otto, he's like, okay, well, either it's this, there is an opening, there is an opportunity here, I might as well go for it. So Otto is But by our outlook of the world now, it is extremely wrong and very, very gross. But considering the world and considering the way women were treated, it's like, okay, well, maybe he really does have their best interest at mind, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, if not Allison's interest, then definitely the one of the family. I liked everything about the wedding. I really liked how Damon and that, what was his name, the Royce fellow, had their little moment. The cousin of Rhea Royce. I really liked.
Bronze yacht.
Bronze yawn.
For fuck. I'll ask
Oh,
my
bronze
horse.
Oh, it's my horse.
She fell off her horse.
Dude, that's so funny.
Yeah, man. Okay. Well, I really like everything about the wedding, except for the ending.
The fight.
Yeah. So let's get to that. I just really don't get how he got away with it. I know the king was more important than that moment. It was chaos, and still, someone at some point has to stop him. And even if not that, even if it's if no one stops him, afterwards he definitely should have been arrested. And
Yeah.
in my head, that would have been better because you could have had Allison come in there and free him later on. That would have actually been a nice cliffhanger because everyone would have been like, what the fuck? Even as book readers, we would have been like, hey, where is this going? And afterwards, they could have explained it. But man, I really didn't like it. But also, I see some people comparing it to Game of Thrones, and I totally disagree here because when we think back to Game of Thrones, it was always fundamental story structure changes. Like there was always something wrong that really had a big impact on the story that is unfolding afterwards. Like for example, season 5 Dorne. No Ariana, no Doran plot, no nothing. It went nowhere. Whereas with this one, well, we know Criston Cole is gonna be on Team Green, so yeah, it's a shitty scene, but House of the Dragon is still a phenomenal show so far, and I think going forward, it's still gonna be good.
I feel like this whole thing happened because they just don't want to shoot another tourney scene. So you're like, okay, this is where Joffrey gets clapped.
I think not to get like too political or anything, but
Oh,
I
shit.
think like if you think about like the way Kristen can just start hammering this guy and just, no one really intervening. I mean, he is at the absolute top of any sort of security detail, I guess you could say. He's on the King's Guard, if he made a decision, everyone would assume it's for the right reason. I think that might be somewhat of a justification, even though it's not very good writing. I guess you could put it that way. I think it could have still been handled better, because obviously in Fire and Blood, he accidentally kills him in a tourney, you know?
Yeah.
And I get that, they don't have unlimited money and it wouldn't work for the pacing of the scene. I mean, for the episode, so it's understandable, but they could have done it better.
So you're saying Criston Cole is 12?
Yes.
Well, he still punched Laenor. Like, even...
That was just dumb. That was just
yeah,
dumb.
it's I don't know. I just don't agree with this scene here. Even though it might just be what inspired the scene, might just be what you just mentioned.
Yeah, I doubt it, but it's very possible. I can see how Kristen, who is, essentially just an incel who doesn't have very good control over his emotions, would do something like that. But I don't, as you said, understand how absolutely no one can stop him, because he didn't try to just get him on the floor, pull out his sword and corner him or anything like that. He was going absolutely batshit crazy,
Yeah. But overall, I liked the episode. I think it was probably the worst episode of House of the Dragon so far, but I still enjoyed it.
Interesting. I actually, yeah, I think the pacing was really, really good. And the only problem I have with it was literally just the whole situation with Kristen. For me, I think episode 3 was probably my least favorite so far. Then it would be
I
episode
always say that
5.
too.
Yeah. Those two are like my last two. I mean, it's not that they're bad. It's just that they have flaws, while the other 3 episodes are, in my opinion, like pretty much perfect.
They have the most flaws. They're enjoyable. Like I enjoy episode 3 and but like when you start thinking about it, like some of it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And even then, I mean, when you think of episode 3, the entire episode is pretty much perfect up until that one point where everyone just stands around Damon. The same thing is with episode 5. The entire episode was perfect except for that one minor, sort of writing, I don't know, mishap, I guess you could call it,
Where everyone was standing right around Fabian Franco. But yeah, when I say this was the worst episode for me, I don't think it's a bad episode. Like, let's make
Right.
this clear for the listeners out there. When I criticize this stuff, it is because I love this stuff. I am always honest. I always give my true honest opinion, and I give episode 4 a 9. I gave 2 8s and 2 7s. That is those are good scores. Those are
Yeah.
good scores, man. I love House of the Dragon. I think this is the best Westeros we've had on our screens since season 4 of Game of Thrones. So yeah, that is pretty high praise.
Yeah, I think it's good to have like a nerd or like Ryan Kondo
Yeah.
at the helm. It just helps.
I think the last 3 episodes, or at least the last 2, are gonna be like really, really big. I think the viewership and the discussion around the show is gonna absolutely explode with the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, totally see that happening as well. And then 3 months later, oh no, in 2 months later, when they have that Game of Thrones con, they're gonna be like, Snow,
Yeah.
very soon.
Oh no.
Oh, he's coming to the con. He is a guest in the first official Game of Thrones Comic Con. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It has to. Yeah. I just hope it's good. I really I think there's definitely potential to remedy some of the problems, So I'm never gonna not be excited for something A Song of Ice and Fire related, but I just hope it's good.
Yeah, I hope it's good. Apparently, it is. It really is just a standalone, one season limited thing. I just hope it's a story about Jon Snow north of the Wall. I hope it doesn't touch any other region in Westeros. I just hope this whole thing is about giving Kit Harington's Jon Snow a better send off. That's all I care about really when it comes to post season 8 stuff. Because we have so many other time frames and historic events that, man, there's just so much stuff that is way better than a Daenerys coming out of nowhere, being resurrected in Volantis and coming back. Oh man, nah, don't touch it. Don't do it.
Yeah, no,
at least for
really.
me. At least for me. I don't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
If you wanna watch a show like that, that is very good for you. But man, just thinking about a live action Bloodraven, Maegor the Cruel, just thinking about Dunk in Egg. That is
Corlys
just
Velaryon as well.
Yeah, I mean, even the shows that HBO lined up, when it comes to them, I think the Corlys one would need another season of House of the Dragon to really get the hype for the character. So right now, I don't think that's realistic.
They don't need to do anything like big with the 9 voyages. They can just keep it basic and make something that's not too complex, but not too dumb, and it'll be good, Also, I kind of have to get this off my chest. Have either of you seen Sex Education?
No.
No.
Okay, well, there's an actor in there. I think his name is Keto Williams Sterling, something like that.
I'm googling right now. What is his name?
To me, if I was a casting director, I would pick him for young Corlys. He looks so perfect for that.
Oh wow, yeah, that would work.
Like he has this, like his facial structure is just, I don't know, very similar, and it's British as well. So I mean, it's.
All right, that is all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to us. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care and see us later.